When fighters are preparing for a fight, MMA, boxing, probably jiu-jitsu, whatever, they go to camp. A camp is where they have a training cycle, and it's usually 12 to 16 weeks, somewhere in there. The goal of camp is through certain work and rest cycles to physically peak during the time of the fight. So they work on technique and strength and conditioning and all this stuff so that right as the fight's happening, they are hitting their physical peak. And they do that with a whole team of coaches through certain prescribed work and rest cycles and whatever. Which is why it's a super big deal when fighters drop out of fights, right? Or take a fight on short notice because they haven't been in camp and they're not hitting that physical peak. Now imagine that you have a fight coming and you don't know when it is and you don't know who it's against and you just have to maintain camp all the time. Hey everyone, Dylan Schumacher, Citadel Defense, and I've been thinking recently about the idea of constant readiness. There are certain military units around the world that have to maintain a state of constant readiness. Firefighters, probably paramedics, EMS. There are certain people in the world who do have to maintain this state of constant readiness. And in case you didn't know, you're one of them. Being just an average Joe Schmo person, you have to maintain this state of constant readiness. Because if your day is going to come, or when it's going to come, or when it's going to be, you don't necessarily know. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be in 45 years from now, it could be never. You just don't know. And whether you've been putting in the work to be prepared for that day, you're going to find out if that day comes. This struck me recently because I was doing some squats and I screwed up my hip a little bit. Injuries are part of the deal of lifting heavy weights, right? That's going to happen. You got to work through your injuries. And I think that there are kind of two different ways you could go with that when you get injured of any kind. I mean, be it lifting or just, off a ladder or whatever, you're going to get injured in life. And at that point, you can decide to not recover and move back into a state of constant readiness, or you can work through the injury, right? You see this all the time with people who blew out their back, 25 years ago and just never did anything. And at this point are so atrophied and in so much pain that the idea of them to physically moving, of course, is just daunting. You also see this, of course, in people that just don't prepare at all and aren't in any kind of state of readiness whatsoever. So I'm making this video to encourage you to be in that constant state of readiness. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're just going to hit the gym for 4 hours every day, 7 days a week, all the time. Although I do have friends who do that. You know who you are. I'm saying that you need to have a long-term view of constant readiness. That you are always doing something to be better prepared if your day ever were to come. I think that at minimum means some kind of strength and conditioning program. Do what you want. This isn't a workout channel. I'm a big fan of starting strength. That also means some kind of consistent dry fire regimen, because we all know that if you want to get better at shooting, dry fire is how you're going to do it. The best shooters in the world dry fire all the time. That's how you get better at shooting. And in life, there are just different seasons. There are seasons where you have lots of time, you're able to get good dry fire in, and you're really healthy, and you're able to really pack away that strength and conditioning. And then there are other seasons where you just don't have the time right now, and it's gonna take a decrease, and you're not gonna be able to get to it as much as you'd like. The important part is that when those seasons come, you're not using that as an excuse to do nothing. Because of course, if you do nothing long enough, that just becomes habit. And then you're always saying, I'll get back to it, and 5 years later you wake up and your day is here and you aren't prepared. So I would highly encourage you to maintain your state of constant readiness. And that can be daunting, but when you look at it in the term of just normal day in, day out life rhythms, life cycles, you're trying to pack away a little bit more skill, a little bit more strength each day. Over the long haul, that's going to add up significantly. I understand that we're all busy and we have lives and wives and jobs and the whole 9 yards. However, take some time and prepare yourself so that you maintain your state of constant readiness so that if your day ever comes, you aren't found lacking.